Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Nerdrunners. I'm Stef and joining me is the man whose deck that I borrowed earlier in the week and it caused my opponent to say, oh god, how does that Overmind have so many counters on it? It's Mark!
Hello everyone!
That's the longest intro I've ever had to do.
It's good. How many did you manage? I had 11 was my best.
Hold on, let me count. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus 4, so 13. It was the first one out.
Nice.
Yeah. So it was just like, Overmind with all these counters. Like, I said, I've run out of power counters. I couldn't borrow a D10, could you? It's like, you're going to need 2. I was like, can I borrow 2 D10 then, please? But yes, this is Nerdrunners, our fortnightly-ish podcast when we have things to talk about. And by golly, do we have things to talk about tonight.
You do indeed.
But as usual, we'll start with the following. Mark, what have you been playing?
Well, as you've already mentioned, I've come up with a very crazy all of the power counters Overmind deck, which I think what I might start doing now is putting the decks in the links for the show so people can actually have a proper look at what the craziness we've been building is. Okay. And this came about, well, I don't know, I think this is just the little festering in me of after we did the Order and Chaos talks, and I was starting to think, like, with mem strips and Deep Red, it's like, man, that's a lot of memory in Anarch. Man, maybe Overmind is really powerful for Anarchs now. And so it turns out, yes. So I put it in Quetzal, or Quetzal, depending on your preferred pronunciation, because she can be quite aggressive early game and break barriers herself. And also, Overmind, you want to savor the counter, so you want E3 feedback probably anyway. So Quetzal tends to kind of run 3 of those because it helps with barrier breaking. But it's been through about 4 iterations in the last week alone because I've not been able to make it to any of the in-person Netrunner meets for about 2 weeks now, so I've been playing a lot on Jinteki.net, which, slow brain as it is, it's like, oh yeah, Jinteki, net damage,
You know, I hadn't even realised that.
I think it's just subtle enough.
Oh, now I'm angry at myself.
So yeah, it's I've got grappling hooks in there again to help with just saving counters. I was running uninstall, and it kind of was working for me a bit, but typically I ended up drawing it early game and getting it well in advance of Overminds and Davids, which are the primary cards to refresh with it.
You see, I didn't have an issue with uninstall. In fact, I did the magical thing of someone... I was playing against Wayland and had David out, because it was the only one I could afford to get out at that point.
Yeah.
And ran out of counter, so he thought it was safe, so he just rezzed a couple of barriers. It's like, well, I'm just going to score this while you're out. I was like, uninstall, reinstall, run! It's like, oh, you bastard. I was like, yep. And it's a new MVP of the deck, I think, along with data folding, which I love in that deck.
I did realise why I was a little bit negative about it during our on episode 3 when we first talked about it. And that's because when you're the corporation, and the one I would compare it most to is Pad Campaign.
Yes.
And when you're the corporation, you res Pad Campaign at the end of the runner's turn, so it basically only costs half as much because it immediately pays back 1.
Yes.
Whereas data folding, you have to install on your turn. It costs 3, and then you don't start getting the money back till your next turn. So I think that's why I was a little down on it, because it is twice as slow as Pad Campaign in a way.
I'd just say regularly as slow. I wouldn't say it's twice as slow.
Twice as slow to make its money back. Sorry.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, once it gets going, it's phenomenal. And after you play the deck and tweaking it slightly, daily casts and at one point in one of the games, I had 2 daily casts and 2 data folding out on the board. That's 6 credits before my turns even begin. That is phenomenal.
And that's just enough to boost Overmind to carry on through this deck.
Yes, and there's also 1 Sage in there as well, because since you have so much memory free, and I had 3 influence free, I was like, why not? And I put a Sage out with 2 mem strips in one of the games I played recently, and the guy in the chat was just like, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that Sage is like 6 strength now. That's cool. I can do stuff with that. Or even higher than that, I guess. It would be 8 strength. So yeah, pretty fun deck. It can be a little bit slow, and I foolishly forget how good grappling hook can be in that deck, because face planting into a Kamainu without a grappling hook out, and then realizing, oh, my grappling hook was in my hand, I should have installed that, now I've lost the grappling hook and the rest of my hand. Oh,
Yes.
sad face.
Well, I also want to make a special mention for grappling hook, as it helped me when I didn't have a breaker out because he trashed some. Helped me get over a curtain wall.
Nice.
Because it was like a grappling hook. It's like, well, you still can't. Oh, you're Quetzal. It's like, yes, I am.
That's quite thematic as well. Just throwing the grappling hook over the curtain wall itself and climbing up,
and then just using my Quetzal boost to get that. It's like running at the wall to grab the grappling hook.
Yes. So that's what I've been playing runner side. I think I've kind of refined it to the point where I'm quite happy with it now. I think, like you said, Day Job was originally in there, but then Katie Jones went in, and then the two didn't really work together.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer Katie Jones in that just for the... Because when I was playing, my turns went draw, Katie, run.
Yeah.
And that Katie was either charging Katie or scoring or getting all the money off of Katie.
Yeah.
And it was a very good card to kind of... Oh, well, I just need to boost it with... Oh, just pull out Katie then. It's nice to run. Because I found that I was running blind servers more than I was running ice servers.
Yeah.
And the times that I thought, oh, I know what he's done. He's put this there. That's when I pulled the Katie off and just went going.
Yeah. So, like I put to you with the kind of the brief overview of how to play the deck, it's very early game aggression using Quetzal's ability to just try and get through anything they've put down. Then mid game it's about getting down as much memory, so you want deep red and the mem strips down kind of as fast as possible as inject, and I've had worse to... I think that works out as 21 cards you draw with those 6.
Yes.
There's actually a lot of card draw in the deck. And something I still need to get into the habit of actually playing it and not worrying about overdrawing, but that's just a personal Netrunner issue I still have. It's like, I want to use every single card. I don't want to have to discard things unnecessarily. And then, late game, by that point, you're all set up. You've got 11 to 13 counters on an Overmind, probably a knight or two on the deck, out on the table, and you can pretty much get through anything. And I since added it. I used to have R&D interface and HQ interface in the deck. That was before the grappling hooks and the Sage went in.
Yeah.
It's since been just replaced by 2 mediums, because I had Nerve Agents been in and out of that deck so many times now.
Yeah.
And I really, it's always that 50th card or 46th card for my runner decks. I always want Nerve Agent in there, but I'd rather have 2 mediums.
Yeah. I mean, when I was playing online, I mean, I was playing against an NEH deck, a relative copy of mine in your version.
Yeah.
And I using Nerve Agent, I accessed 4 of the 5 cards in his hand. Didn't see anything. The 5th card was an NEH. Not an NEH.
NAPD.
No. Astroscript. Sorry. Because I've got mixed up there. God, trying to get the words out tonight is ridiculous. But then at the same time, it's always useful to have them both out. It's like, well, I'm running here and I'm running here.
Yeah, double pressure.
It's just makes them defend more.
You've convinced me to put it back in. I'm going to have to find space.
Well, we did talk about revision of removing other cards earlier, so maybe instead of putting in that 3rd knight, which I don't think you need with all the other icebreakers in there, you've thrown a Nerve Agent.
I think because the reason I put the upped it to 3 knights again after taking it down to 2 was the early sentries, which I said could be a bit of a problem if someone reses like a Data Raven early, and then I don't really have a way to get through it until I'm it. Because again, it's that whole with uninstall it's quite good, or with seeing multiple copies of Overmind, you can install one, it can run out, then you can just install over it, and then you've got an Overmind in the trash for later to pull back out. But it's sometimes you want like a knight just to get over the sentries, but then it's like, but grappling hook is also equally good for multi-sub sentries as well. And it's just like hitting I hit a Yagura at one point. I know that's a code gate, but I had my Sage out. It's like, fuck, that's gonna be 4 credits to get through the 2 subroutines on the Yagura. Okay, let's just break the UC the top card of R&D, and I'll just take the net damage just to see. So yeah, I think grappling hook is really underrated in that deck at the moment, and I need to play it more. And on the corporation side of things, I've been having the most fun with Argus Security. And I say them. I don't think I'm a true Wayland player yet because I still feel guilty. Every game I've won so far has been through a flatline. And I still feel a little guilty doing it. It feels like...
you're the worst.
I know, I still think like, I didn't get to 7 points, I didn't really win, instead of they were tagged and now their house is blown up.
That's a win. That's the best kind of win.
I know it's a win.
It's technically correct, the best kind of correct.
as has been taught to us by cartoons.
Yes.
So what I'm doing in that deck is...
I'm not affiliated with Fox in any way.
Just in case they tag you and then bomb your house.
Well, if
they'd be NBN, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'd just send a bunch of guys down to immediately kill me if I make a successful... We've gone off topics. Talk to me about Wayland.
So I've got Government Takeover. This is inspired by the deck I mentioned on the podcast a little while ago, where they got their Government Takeover to 6 advancements, but I'd also seen Cerebral Overwriter and didn't want to check it. But it's also a little bit inspired by our crazy dedicated response team, NEH, all of the servers deck. So I predominantly install advance cards and leave them unprotected. Yeah. And then next turn I'll probably install advance another card and just keep install advance. I scored a cleaners out because they was just not checking my double advance remote my remote servers. So it's like, man, this is cool. Now meat damage is more powerful. But the traps I've got in there are Cerebral Overwriter, Project Junebug, and recently I added in reversed accounts just for ultimate credit punishment for the runners.
Naturally.
Grindle Refinery's in there too because I realised they're not checking these and install advanced cars, so I can get 16 credits from a Grindle Refinery over 2 turns. So that's pretty neat. But I've got to say, and this goes back to me always wanting to try and play with cards I never play with. Ghost Branch is so good in this deck. One, because it's really easy to get out, and that's one of the few that I don't mind just having like one token. I think with like Junebug and Cerebral Overwriter, I kind of want them to be at 2, but with Ghost Branch, it's like they can have 1 tag because I have 3 punitives, which I know are on agendas, but I have also 3 Scorch and 3 Traffic Accident. So it's like all of the tags are coming through to you.
Yeah, all the tags, all the damage.
All the tags, all the damage. And the second reason I love Ghost Branch is because it doesn't cost you anything to fire it, whereas all the other traps, Junebug and Overwriter cost you money to fire it. I know Junebug's only 1, but when they hit a Ghost Branch, and it's like, do I want to pay 0 to give them 2 tags? Yes, I do. And the funniest thing was in one of my games is I had 2 Ghost Branches out, double advanced, naked, and then I had, what did I have out? It must have been a Cleaners double advanced and naked. And I was like, they're not running on anything. I'll just start. I'll try and score this Cleaners out. So they ran on the Cleaners first or second click, I think it was, and they took it. And then the runner was like, shit, I better check the rest of these in case they're agendas. And it was 2 tags from Ghost Branch, 2 tags from Ghost Branch, my turn. Okay, so I'll play that punitive because you stole 3 points. I'll play the Scorched Earth because you have 4 tags right now. But I didn't have enough money to pull off the ultimate double Scorch, so I was just like, and I'll just Traffic Accident you, and now you have no cards.
Hooray!
And then next turn I had enough money to play my other Scorch because they just couldn't remove all the tags. But no, it's really fun. It's Checkpoint is good, and it's even better when their only breaker is an Atman and they have to install it at 7 strength to get past it.
Oh,
which
man.
Made my day.
I don't know whether you feel the same as me. I hate Atman decks because people were so crazy about them for such a long time.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh, well, I've got so many things that just force you to install an Atman for more.
Yeah. Like, Order and Chaos did a great deal. I had so many cards that were just over 4 strength. And just varied strength as well. So it's like, well, now your Atman can't be quite as set to 4 as it used to be. But no, I've been having an absolutely great time. It's like Wayland is finally starting to click for me. And as well, with 7 agendas in the deck, it's like I don't run a massive amount of ice. It's mostly kind of the Firewall, Ice Wall, and then just like Caduceus, Data Raven, Hunter. I took Searchlight out though, because it starts off at a trace 0 effectively.
Yeah,
I never really advance it. It's like,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It was all right, but it's good if you've got is it it's a Builder or something like that.
Yeah, Builder, or if you have what is it? Constellation Protocol to move stuff over to it, or Satellite Grid to give it 1 by default.
It's good in that regard, but other than that, you're just kind of meh.
Yeah, and I think Hunter does what I wanted Searchlight to do, just with 1 Trace 3 instead of 2 Trace X's.
Yeah.
And it's Strength 4, which is 1 more than Searchlight is. And I've just played Errand Boy as well, because like I say, I have 7 agendas. I'm quite happy for my R&D and my HQ for them to get in. So it's like, well, why not make a bit of money when I do that? But no, Checkpoint. I've not had I nearly had the opportunity to just put out my government takeover with 2 punitives in hand, but I got so agenda flooded and so credit light, I was just forced to kind of just gain credits and just hope they didn't hit anything in my hand. So I have 3 private security force in the deck as well, which is why it's running 7 agendas rather than 6, which a lot of the government takeover decks seem to be focusing on, just the 1 government takeover and then 5 3-pointers to make it as few agendas as possible. But I have them in there purely because I want just another way to punish them for keeping tags, and it's also really good. It's good to kind of make them fear taking tags if they see it and steal it, but it's also good for me if I don't have any credits because it's just a click to do meat damage if they're tagged, which I quite like. But I would just realised as well, one of the reasons why kind of this deck came to life for me and why I've been enjoying it so much was something that I think it was Tim Bunn said on one of the Order and Chaos Fight Night videos they've done recently. He was like, I thought about kind of doing the kind of the Argus deck, which is like personal evolution. You have lots of 1-point agendas. You get your ability to fire and fire and fire. But he's like, oh yeah, I wanted to focus it on just these couple of big moments in the game, and just like then just they have that one decision to make, and it's either the tag or the meat damage, and then that's when you swoop in and do all this terrible things to them because you have all that free space because you're running so few agendas, and then that's why I can run 9 meat damage cards in this deck, or 9 meat damage operations in the deck.
It is a fun deck. It does sound like a wonderful time, and I look forward to running it. And I am a natural Wayland player, so I would be curious if we both ran it against each other, who would come out on top. And obviously I think it'll probably come down to luck at that point, but
possibly.
You never know.
But
I'm much more aggressive.
The thing I like about it is, for some reason, runners don't seem to want to check a naked 2 advanced remote, so that's why you can get away with Grindor Refinery and scoring out of 5-3 unprotected, which is just fantastic.
By the same merit, if you spend your entire turn advancing something and not scoring it, that makes them suspicious.
Yeah. I've not yet got to the point where I've been able to just kind of have lots of 6 advanced cards out and one of them be government takeover. Mm-hmm. That's where I really want to get to at one point with this deck. But typically it's they eventually kind of run on them because it's like they've been too advanced for a while. I should probably check on this because he's starting to score agendas, and then all of the traps start firing on them all at once, and they just don't have enough time and money to clear tags and recover from the net or brain damage. And yeah, it's just. It's kind of those, they trip an alarm type moments, and then all of the bad things happen in a turn to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun though. How about you? How have your decks been recently?
Well, as I said, I borrowed your Quetzal deck.
Yes.
Which had a fairly decent response. Like I say, I got back in touch with you talking about more economy, and I fiddled around with that, and I kind of played a little bit online briefly. And it came out a lot better, I think.
Yeah.
I'm still... I did build my Chaos Theory Monolith Box-E Trade-In.
Which I absolutely love you did this, by the way. You're my hero.
Which is the dumbest deck that for some reason has won me more games than it's lost. I can't even fathom it. Because I even went into the game saying, look, I'm not going to try and win at all, alright? All I want to do... It's like, you'll see me doing some weird stuff. Ignore it. I'm just getting enough money for a Monolith, and then I'm going to trade it in for a Box-E. And then I did it, and I was like, well, they're only like 3 or 4 points ahead. Fuck it. Let's just go. So I decided to just keep running. Of course, I had all my breakers out, because what are you going to do with that space? So I've got Origami out, and I've got all my Leprechauns. Like, alright, I'll throw down a couple of ladies, and I throw down my other breakers, because I did have Overmind in there, but I swapped out for a Sage.
Yeah.
And what else is in there? I can't remember off the top of my head. I've got it written down, so I will post it later on.
Yeah, we'll post it in the episode description. We'll post our decks.
But it's I just started running, and the guy's like, I can't keep you out. I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I genuinely don't. And then I won. And then the second game was exactly the same. I sat down and I said, look, I'm not going to try and win. I'm just getting enough money to trade in Monolith for Box-E. And he said, oh, okay then. Well, I'll probably win, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And then I distracted him by just talking the entire time. So I was like, this is Chaos Theory. She's only a little girl, so she's got a paper route, so she's got a day job. I mean, she's out. She's doing the daily casts, and she's getting some economy from her mother. And then she developed this magnum opus, and just like clicking and clicking and clicking. It's like, how much are you willing to pay for a monolith? And I was like, I'm willing to pay any amount of money to get a monolith and a trade-in. And then of course I did make him giggle by just saying, this is what happens. You get your monolith, and then you put it in the back of a truck and go, I'm bored of this monolith now. I'm going to take it to Aesop's. And Aesop goes, alright, cool, I'll take this. Oh, it's Cloak and Dagger I'm running it as well. That's the Century Breaker. Because, why not? It's fairly decent. And if you got all that memory, I did install a monolith and put 3 cloaks on it. The guy was just like, oh, so that's your stealthy machine. I was like, yeah, it's real stealthy. Real stealthy.
Stealth monolith.
Stealth monolith. Which sounds like the dumbest... Oh, that's my next deck. A Shaper stealth monolith deck.
Oh my god, yes. Make that, please.
But yeah, it's just made me giggle the entire time. It's mainly just all the money cards, and people are just like, why trade in for Box-E? I said, well, you'll have to listen to the Netrunner episode. Nerdrunner episode. And they were like, oh, I haven't heard it. And then it's just more promotion for us. So it's a promotional deck. I like it. But
yeah, it's good.
But yeah, it's been bizarrely winning things, and people just look at it and go, why do you want to get rid of a monolith? Like, oh, it takes up too much space. Or like, well, or as I like to say, well, her parents kind of got her home from school, and she was in the basement for like 3 days. They thought, oh, it's just she's down there with dinosaurs. They came down like, why are there local brownout? Oh, our genius daughter has built a monolith. And I like the look of just because I'm looking at the art on the card, and just like this one chair in front of this massive computer, and I imagine this tiny girl with a dinosaurus in her lap going, well, this is great and all, but it's not really as portable as I'd like it to be.
I can't really put it into my dinosaur as I wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping to build a Dinosaurus Rex, but... Anyway, it's a fun deck. I'm probably going to retire it now. It's had a bit of a giggle, and I need to build something more consistent. And I'm still playing NEH Horrible Taggy Death, because, I do enjoy winning, and it's still a very good deck. And I'm going to swap it out for Wayland soon, I promise. So yeah, more stories. But again, I just kind of sit down, and people still think, it's like, oh, it's just fast events. Like, yeah, sure, believe it. And then it's like, I got, my starting hand the other day was no ice. It was 2 turtlebacks and 3 pad campaigns. And then I just triggered the ice draws from like putting service tabs. I was like, okay, I'll put down turtleback, rezzed. I'll put down a pad campaign, face down, and then I'll install this bit of ice I've just put up. And then the next one was put down a turtleback, rezzed pad. It's just ridiculous.
I think a lot of people really still underestimate how good turtlebacks is.
Oh yeah, I love it, and
it's such a good card.
Without any doubt in their eyes, I'll just pick it up and go, oh, what's this? And I have to explain it to them. But it's the same with the people, just because I'm running things like satellite uplink in there, which just gives you 3 credits for a trace. I'm like, why have you got this? You've got all the traces. Like, no, you don't understand. When I try and Psycho Beal you with the one Project Beal in my card, in my deck, I'm gonna get a lot of tags on you. Okay, it's like I just blew. I had something ridiculous like 20 credits from Diversified Portfolio, along with the 3 credits. Like, okay, so. Here is my mid-seasons. Oh, okay. No, don't look. You can empty your bank account. You're still going to have something like 20-something tags. Like, oh, do I need to keep? I was like, no. Here, look. Here's what's going to happen. Then I'm going to psychographics out this Beal. Like, oh, so how do you? Yes, I win. I win from nothing to many points. I'm seriously considering taking out the private security force.
Yeah.
In that and putting in more Project Beals and psychographics.
Might not be a bad idea if that's becoming your primary win condition.
It's just, people just tend to float tags once they've got past 3. And they're like, well, you're clearly not running Scorch or you don't have it, so I'll just run more aggressive. And again, it forces them to run aggressively, so they hit DRT.
Yeah.
And then if they just float tags, like, okay, well, Psycho Beal, Psycho Beal, Psycho Beal.
It's good. Yeah, the longer I played that deck, the more revisions I made to it, and then the more it wasn't doing as well.
Yeah.
The classic case of over-tinkering.
Okay, then. Well, as usual, we've taken far too long talking about our decks, so shall we move on to our feature of the 2 weeks.
Feature of the fortnight. It rolls off the tongue.
Not when I say it.
Feature of the 2 fortnight.
A feature of the 2 fortnights. Do you want to... Because this is... I want you to tell how this started, because I got a very odd message at work one day.
I can't even remember what the starting message was in this chain now, but I think I just had a really dumb idea for a card. I was just like, I have to share this with Stef. He'll appreciate how dumb this card is.
So this is the message I got. It's like, I've got a feature idea for the next episode. What silly or overpowered or just broken cards would you like to see in future data packs? I've been pretty creative and written a few this morning. So, your example you sent to me was Eli 2.0, 45-15, an ID for Anarch. For every click the runner loses on his or her turn, the corporation loses an equal number on his or her turn. He's all grown up.
I just love that idea of, I've lost all these clicks, now you've lost all these. It's basically kind of the runner endeavouring to lose 3 clicks. So the corp just misses their turn and the runner just have 1 click. So it's just, I love the idea of just how broken it is. Like, I'll run this wild side and this hard at work. That's 2 clicks I've lost already. What else can I lose? And just playing to lose clicks. It's just...
And what that did is trigger me spending my entire day coming up with cards. So the one I responded with was an asset, a 9-cost asset, called Doxing. Whenever the runner receives the tag, the runner receives an additional 2 tags. The only thing they have to fear is fear itself. And this set us on a spiral.
Yeah, we went on a mad, crazy, broken, funny, batshit insane Netrunner card spiral. And we even put this to you guys on Reddit as well. We got some fantastic responses. Unfortunately, we can't read all of them out, and I'll put the link to the thread in the show notes as well, so you can check out everyone's responses. But yeah, we'll run through our crazy ones first, and then we'll get on to there's I wish I could read them all out, but then it's like a 3-hour podcast.
Can I give a special shout out to the couple of guys that were talking about how overpowered AstroScript is? And then he said it's basically just a die roll, and then he got trolled by a dice rolling bot.
It was a heads or tails flipping bot. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Oh my god, it was ridiculous. I just giggled. His reaction was like, "Did I just get trolled?"
Oh man.
Anyway. Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll read a couple, because mine come in blocks, because I am obsessive compulsive, and therefore everything has to be neatly compacted into sets of things, and that's why I must run all of the dogs in one deck, or all of the space ice in one deck, or all of the snakes in one deck. I have to do the sets. It's a sickness. I'm aware of this, but it leads to some stupid ass decks, which are hilarious.
And
anyway,
I'm the polar opposite of you, so everything I read out will be all over the place, because I am a hodgepodge mishmash of chaos. It's amazing that we're still friends, really, isn't it?
I know. It's odd couple syndrome. It's like, we have to be different. That's how it works.
We did live together for the longest time.
Okay, well, these are the ones that actually I love the Eli 2.0 idea. And I love the idea of like ice becoming a runner, or just cards evolving into different types of cards. But that was the only one of those I did. These were the ones that I'd actually had in my head for a little while, and kind of what spurred me to send that initial message. And so the first ones I have are social situation. It's a 2 res cost, 2 strength barrier, and it's neutral. Its one subroutine is end the run, and the stipulation of the card is social situation can only be broken by awkward joke, which then goes onto the runner side with awkward joke, a 2 res cost, 2 strength fractor, also neutral, and it's 1 credit to break subroutine. And obviously its stipulation is awkward joke can only break subroutines on social situation. And I made the flavor text overlap because of the recent stuff with the poem on the space ice.
Yeah.
And so the flavor text starts on awkward joke, and it's, how much does a polar bear weigh? And then on social situation, it just says, enough to break the ice. Boom! Mic drop. That's the most roundabout Netrunner joke there ever will be, I think.
Oh god, it's so funny.
I'll read the next set and then we'll go back to you for another.
Yeah, go for it.
And so again, I looked at some of the existing cards and thought these, because again they've done cards and then later gone back and made them into a thematic set. So I was like, kind of what else could I do that would be silly? And I was like, I've just played with Paper Wall. I know what I could do with Paper Wall.
Oh god.
And so we have Scissor Wall. a 0 res cost 1 strength neutral sentry, and it does 1 meat damage to you on a subroutine. And it says, trash scissor wall if a copy of rock wall is rezzed. What is rock wall, I hear you say? Well, rock wall is a 0 res cost 1 strength code gate, and it's neutral. And it's the runner loses a click if able is a subroutine. And you trash rock wall if a copy of paper wall is rezzed. And therefore they'd have to re-release paper wall to incorporate the new mechanic, but that means they could also correct the spelling mistake and get rid of that unnecessary first S of subroutines.
Or they could
make me happy.
They could change the flavor text, not the flavor text, the text on Rockwall to be Trusty Rock.
Good old Rock. Nothing beats Rock.
Rock, yeah.
In fact, yeah, that should be the flavor. Honestly, every time I play Rock Paper Scissors, that I always think, good old Rock. Nothing beats Rock. Classic Simpsons quote, and I use Rock.
Yeah, because you're an
more
idiot.
often than not actually win.
Not against me, because I constantly pick paper against you.
Because you know how my brain works.
Speaking of Rock, the most confusing one I came up with was called Rock and a Hard Place, which is an event for 5 credits. Name a card. The corp reveals the top card of R&D. If the card is a card you named, you may access this card or trash it at no cost. If the card is not the card you named, the card resolves. If the card is an agenda, the corp adds it to their score area. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Oh man, I like it.
And then I realised that what I'd done is when I made Juggernaut, I essentially just copied Snowball.
Yes.
Because Snowball's a stupid card. But I just renamed it Juggernaut. I even got the fact that it's a 2 strength 2 crit. It's just dumb. But the next one that I was quite happy with was a criminal run event for 5 costs called the Nimoy Play. Make a run. If at the end of the run you still have at least 1 card in your grip, gain 10 credits. All damage taken is doubled for the duration of the run. And it was put together simply so I could put the flavor text "Live long and prosper" on there.
What better way to actually get a Star Trek quote into the
I know.
cards.
Oh, it gets worse.
I was going to say, I love the fact that the card pool already contains quotes or references to Archer and Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
amongst other great shows. I had another dumb pair of cards that rounded out a set that is obviously incomplete, because why else would they make Sneak Door Beta if they weren't going to make 2 other cards to round it out? So I came up with Sneak Door Alpha. It's a 4-cost Termu Anarch program. And you click, you make a run on R&D, and if successful, you treat it as a run on Archives.
Why would you? I don't even know why that would even become relevant. Like,
Neither do I.
Who would ice their archives before they iced up their R&D? Me.
Maybe this is a really good fit for Noise, who really wants to run on Archives and needs another way in. And obviously Sneak Door Gamma, which is the 4-cost 2MU Shaper program, and it's click, make a run on HQ, if successful, treat it as a run on R&D. Because, again, why wouldn't you have this card?
We'll have to put in a Sneak Door Delta.
Sneak Door Delta, yeah.
Make a run anywhere. Or make a run on HQ. Or, no, make a run on Archives. If successful, treat it as a successful access of any server.
Yeah, or make a run on a remote server.
Yeah.
If successful, treat it as a run on any server.
Any central,
That'd be
that's pretty
so
good.
overpowered and great.
Everyone would run it. I then came up with Protocol 4CK-B4R, or Protocol Akbar. Asset, ambush, 5 res. When accessed, Protocol Akbar deals brain damage equal to the number of pieces of ice protecting the server. No one thought that the server was fully operational.
And again, similar to Snowball, I think you've just rewritten Edge of World.
I probably have. It's weird.
You have like the Netrunner Inception effect.
Yeah.
These cards that no one's been playing for a long time, all of a sudden you've come up with a kind of a snappier way to use them in the game.
Oh, it's nothing compared to the last one I came up with, which was Table Flip, or Clear the Decks. Neutral 6 cred operation, remove all hosted cards.
I love that one.
Which is just like, fuck you.
Which actually leads quite well into my next 2 or 3 cards that I've got, because again, I saw something and it's not complete, so I've made the rest of Kaisa program to the Anarchs. You're welcome, Fantasy Flight. I'm on it. So we.
God, if this does become Fantasy Flight canon, I am going to cry with laughter.
Particularly because of how OP and stupid they are.
Yes.
Okay, so first off we have Queen. It's a 7-cost 2MU right as well. Across this and the next one, I actually worked out it becomes 7 MU, which is enough MU of your default MU and Deep Red. So it's like I actually thought about this properly.
You are a Kaisa whisperer.
I am. So yeah, it's Queen. It's a 7-cost 2 MU Kaisa program for the Anarchs. Click host Queen on a piece of ice. Queen can be moved by any number of unhosted cards in a straight line, vertical line, horizontal line, or diagonally. So basically, they can move anywhere as long as the route is unobstructed by other hosted cards. And then, if Queen passes the innermost piece of ice protecting HQ, the runner adds Queen to his or her score area as an agenda worth 2 points, which is just crazy. And
yeah, I think there should be a limit on that. It's like Queen can only move once or one thing per turn, or one piece of ice at a time.
Yeah, I did think about making it like Queen can only move every other turn or something like that.
Yeah. Oh no, it can only move one piece of ice at a time. So
yeah.
you can spend your entire turn moving Queen to the centre if you really want to.
Or you just put Queen on the innermost piece of ice on HQ and then just move her straight in there.
Yeah.
But obviously, to limit off and be stupid and crazy, there's also King, and that's the 1-cost 1 MU Kaisa program. And it's click host King on a piece of ice. If the piece of ice is trashed while King is hosted on it, the corporation adds King to his or her score area as an agenda worth 2 points. So the most pointless Kaisa program ever.
But it ties in very nicely with your last card.
It does, and also as well, 'cause I routinely, when I've played Kaisa programs before, just put them on cards just to see if the corp will just trash that piece of ice.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just a nice way of kind of, especially if they put a knight, if you put a knight on something, you just think, I don't care if I lose that knight, it just means that's one less piece of ice for me to worry about with that server. So kind of a sacrificial Kaisa program is quite nice. But yeah, that ties in nicely with Checkmate, and it's my Anarch event. It's 0 cost, and it's play only if at least 1 pawn, 1 bishop, 1 rook, 1 knight, 1 queen, and 1 king are all hosted on pieces of ice. The corporation trashes all ice, protecting all servers.
Which I do like in this wording, would cause King to be added to the score as an agenda worth 2 points. So it's kind of pointless.
It is, but then you've completely, like, that late game, and all of a sudden you can get into any server.
Yeah.
In terms of crazy, broken, stupid, funny, overpowered cards, I think that is probably the best one I came up with, because it's just like you need like all 7 Kaisa programs out on the board. So it's just a crazy card. I really hope that I would like actually to see a Queen and a King card at some point.
I think they'll probably be coming along. I would like to see Checkmate personally. That to me, I mean, maybe not as OP as this, but definitely a Checkmate card. So, shall we go to some wonderful fan-submitted... I say fan-submitted, Reddit-submitted, because they might hate us.
Possibly. Okay, I'll start. I'll read out for you, and then I might post them in the chat for you to read out as well, so I'm not hogging everything. Okay, the first one I'm going to read out is... well, these are in no particular order, but I do absolutely love the flavor text on this. And
I think I know which one you mean.
You probably, I'm sure you do. It's submitted by Wild Rage, and it's Jack Wayland. He's a runner. He's neutral. He's a 40/infinity runner.
Which makes complete sense.
Yep. And whenever the corp gains 1 or more credits, gain that many credits. And the flavor text, which just sold me on this, is, because I built it.
I have to give mad props for that. That is a wonderful card.
I think, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do love the rest of the submitted ones, but I think if we're going to have a winner, it might just be that on the flavor text alone.
I would be constantly running a full Wayland Corp deck and then a Jack Wayland runner deck.
I just love the idea of you just constantly outmoney the corporation as well.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just gained 6 credits that turn. I will also gain 6 credits this turn. Okay, our next one was submitted by Scooter Skittles, and it's You're Doing It Again, and it's event/operation.
Oh my god!
And it's a current. And I did love this one. Whenever your opponent loudly cycles their deck during your turn, you may say, "You're doing it again." If you do, gain a credit.
Which can be some of the most annoying things to hear when you're playing Netrunners. Your opponent just it's like, God's sake.
I know, it's. I think there's another one later that goes off a similar aspect to the game. Because the thing I often do when I'm playing is I kind of collapse my hand and put it on the side after the other players started their turn, so they kind of have seen how many cards are in my hand, and it's kind of, all right, now I can put them away and just let you do your turn. Our third one, also submitted by Scooter Skittles, is Keeping It Simple, and it's an MBN. They've said this one's a 3 influence card, an operation, and costs 2 credits. and I love this one as well, just purely because it fits so well with NBN. They have the flavor completely right. And it's Google the full name of the runner player. If a picture, address, phone number, full birth date, or mother's maiden name of the runner player is visible in the first 2 pages of results, give the runner 1 tag.
Oh god, it's a nice one.
It is. Again, it fits so well with NBN. It's like, I love that.
There's another one from Ree Carmen. Colony Drop, which is 5 credit operation from Wayland. 3 influence. Play only if the runner has at least 2 tags. Trash all resources, especially locations.
Especially in capitals as well.
Hardware and programs, and deal the runner 18 meat damage. I know not what weapons World War III will be fought with, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. That guy who made Icefall.
so many good pieces of flavor text as well in these in the submissions. It's fantastic.
He also submitted one of my favourite ones, which is give me your deck. 5 event neutral. Play only if you can currently access more than 8 cards in R&D. Access the court's entire deck. And the flavor text from Noise is, come on, we both knew it was going to come to this.
I especially like this one after your recent Valencia deck, which is all about the just super medium
access
run.
All areas. Yeah. If I had this card in there, I would be winning the entire time.
You just need, just get
I wouldn't even need to run.
You just wait for that incubator to be up to 8 or 9, and then
shift it to a medium.
Boom. Yep. Give me your deck. We also had Pity Upvote suggested we need a brain damage archetype. So they suggested I want a console that gives all icebreakers +1 strength for every brain damage, or a unique virtual resource that gives a credit for every card they have to discard at the end of their turn.
Which would be bananas.
I have a feeling that's coming at some point.
Oh yeah, almost certainly.
Anox they're just so brain damagey. It makes so much sense that they'll have like that kind of archetype at some point.
Well, I'm looking forward to Brain Cage.
Yeah, that's Spoiler Town, but yes, that could be quite awesome.
Is it Spoiler Town? I thought they'd fully released the details for that now.
I guess it's fully released on FFG's site, but obviously it's not in our physical.
I think I need to quantify what a spoiler is.
Yeah. Although it was spoiled 5 months ago, so.
Yeah, deal with it.
We also have PFP from Blam Squad. It's a hardware, it's a console, it costs 5 to install, and it's a first 5 influence neutral card. And it's +3 link. And so when your turn begins, lose click, 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 click. And then you, for 1 credit, you gain a click. And it's limit 1 console per player still. So basically, you lose your entire turn when your turn begins, but depending on how much money you have in your paid ability window, you just gain all the clicks back. Which is just insane. You could keep your turn going forever.
Yep.
It's just funny. Horrendously outmoney the corporation, and then just play that, and then it's my turn for the rest of the game.
Oh dear. We have another one from Corrupt Drop Bear, which is Sanity Check, 5 credit ice, Sentry, Strength 4, deal 5 net damage, and then the other subroutine is the runner takes the top 5 cards of their heap into their grip. Just checking.
See, I didn't really get this one at first until the Reddit thread kind of explained it a bit better, and then it's all of a sudden it's like, well, if you have less than 5 cards in hand, this is a kill card.
Yes, it's a death card.
And not only that, but because the runner's heap, I always want to say archives, heap is kept in order, then you're, as a corporation, you can't, because they're going to pick the same 5 cards up, assuming it was 5 cards they discarded, the corporation gets to see all of the runner's hand.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, right, in your hand, now it goes back into your hand.
I can prepare for that account cipher.
Yeah, and then in front of Kamainu as well, it becomes deal 5 net damage, and you trash all of your cards. And if they don't break if they leave some of the subroutines to fire, it's like, okay, I'll break that 5 net damage, but I'll get 5 cards back from my heap. All of a sudden, Kamainu has 10 subroutines on it.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Oh dear.
The other one that I have here is submitted by Cat Ears, which is Backdoor, 2 credits event. It's a criminal. Make a run on a server. Reverse the order of the ice in the server. When the run is complete, reverse the order of the ice in the server. The tip from the Inside Man was a bit more literal than she suspected.
And again, I just love the craziness of this. Because you're gonna check all the ice anyway. Like
Yeah.
assuming it's all face up and you know what the ice is. It's just actually I'll just have that one first.
Yeah, I'll deal with this, and then I can choose to just jack out.
But then it has some really good things. Like I'll swap the Inazuma and put that behind the ice.
Yeah.
Or I'll move Chum to behind the other ice. So
Yeah, I was
Chum
going to
becomes
say
pointless.
the Chum pop-up window combo
Yeah.
that I fought the other day would no longer be a problem, because you'd be like, oh yeah, all right, I'll pay this, and there's nothing after Chum. Woo!
So again, like so many of these cards I can actually see like really good plays with as well.
And then I don't know who this one's from. The Silent Alarm.
I think that's from Corrupt Drop Bear as well.
Which is just the best name, by the way. But this is a stupid card, and I absolutely adore it. It's a Wayland Trap for 0 strength, 5 influence. When Silent Alarm is encountered, put 3 power counters on Silent Alarm. At the beginning of your turn, remove 1 power counter. When there are no power counters on Silent Alarm, flatline the runner. With a flavor text of, did you hear something?
Again, fantastic. It's just like...
It's good. I like this Corrupt Drop Bear guy. He's got it well in hand.
Yeah.
But that is the stupidest card I could ever imagine. It's like, yeah, you've got 3, unless you can put more power counters onto this or destroy the ice.
What is it? Helium-3 deposits would put more power counters on if you wanted.
Yes.
if you were that way inclined to keep the game going.
which is just dumb.
But again, it's just that whole like, right, now you have 3 turns to try and win the game. Good luck.
Oh, man. I like ban hacks, actually. Make
Yeah.
a run on any server if successful. Instead of accessing cards, you may go through the corp's entire deck and remove any executive sysops or clones from the game.
And we have Doku no Ha, which translates in Japanese to Poison Blade, so, you know, mad props for doing that. It's an ice, it's a sentry, and it's 3 strength and 2 credits to res. It's got 1 subroutine, deal 1 net damage and place a power counter on Doku no Ha. At the beginning of the runner's turn, deal 1 net damage for each power counter on Doku no Ha. And that was from DJC 6535. It feels so Jinteki. It's brilliant. We've got 2 more, which I'll just read out.
Sure.
One is from Exozik, and it's Supernova. And again, this plays off another card in the game. I'm sure you'll guess which one in a second. It's an ice. It's a code gate. It's from NBN. It's 5 influence. It's 9 to res and it's 9 strength. Going on that theme, it's 9 trace. A trace 9. If successful, trash 2 programs to do 2 brain damage, cannot be prevented, and end the run. And the flavor text was, there was a sense of death coming when this gigantic light appeared. I'm still alive, but everything changed. That was from Guru. So, what could be worse than that flare? I know, a supernova. Funnily enough, there were quite a lot of quotes from Guru on the submitted cards. I think everyone seems to want to be able to quote him on their fictitious cards, and I completely agree.
I'm always wondering whether he's ever going to be released as a runner, but the one neutral runner you can use in the game.
Maybe. I'd like him to be like, I know people suggested like this net consciousness type runner who doesn't actually have a physical being. They're just like an AI. They're like transcended onto the net. And I wonder if that would be Guru. Was that
the
code.
one that couldn't install anything except virtual resources?
Yes, yeah, that other submitted card that we had, yeah. But yeah, I like the idea of maybe a runner that is just who can't take meat damage because they don't have a body, which is just mad. And the last one we're going to read out today is Scooter Skittles. Again, it's uploaded consciousness, and it's a program. It's a +1 MU. When uploaded consciousness is installed, remove all installed hardware and connections from the game. Then remove from the game all hardware and connections from your grip, stack, and archives. 0 credits, prevent all meat damage.
Yeah. So I got away with it!
It's like, I'm online now. And it kind of fits with stuff like EcoMind, which is just a brain in a jar connected to the net. But yeah, thank you everyone for your submissions. I really wish we could read them all. I have like another 5 or 6 pages of them.
I was really happy with the amount of feedback we got. I'm still astounded that people listen to us talk to each other. I've always been astounded that me and you might have followers. So maybe we should start a cult.
Our own Netrunner cult.
Maybe.
I do want to give... because it was so complicated I couldn't even wrap my head around it to read it, by Cycron. It's called Boundless Complexity, and it's an asset subtype stupid.
Oh, I remember this one.
And it has some crazy nonsensical maths, which basically results in the final kind of inverted commas kind of subroutine, even though it's an asset, of just ask Lucas what to do on Twitter.
Yeah.
which I did like quite a lot. But yeah, I'll post the link to the Reddit thread, so anyone interested can go through that and see the rest of the ones we didn't get a chance to mention, and there are still some good ones we didn't get a chance to mention, so we're sorry about that. But thank you to everyone who did submit something. They were hilarious to read. Oh, and there was one more that I do want to give a quick shout out to, because it wasn't a suggestion for a new card, but it just read, "My friends and I also impose a condition upon Lotus Field. Whenever you res it, you have to compose a haiku about the state of the game. I'd like to see more cards that require impromptu poetry." And I think that was Automatic Jack. Sorry if I've miscredited someone there, but I love that. Just like, Lotus Field is here, now a haiku, please.
Yes. It's the same thing. It's like whenever Surge comes out, you have to scream, "Surge!"
I love it when you play that against someone and they don't realise that's the flavor text, and they just look at you, and then you just show them the card.
Yeah.
Like, now I understand.
So you're not a nutter. Well, I am, but...
Not like that.
Not like that, no. Oh, dear. But I think that might have to do us for the week.
Yeah, I think that about wraps us all up.
I really can't get my head around this fortnight thing. The concept of 2 weeks passing between each one is a confusing one for me, clearly.
See, I'd say bi-weekly, but that also means twice a week, as well as every 2 weeks.
Bi-monthly.
But bi-monthly could mean twice a month or every 2 months. There is this strange...
Oh my god, let's just... Alright, I'm
bastard of an English language that we have.
I'm done.
So that's why I settled with fortnightly.
Mark, say the thing that you say at the end of everything.
The end of the show things. Okay, well, you can... typically find our podcast if you go to canlaugh.com/nerdrunners. It's always posted on Reddit, so you can normally find it knocking around there. It's always tagged in the title with Nerdrunners, so search for that if you want to find that or any previous episodes. If you want to get in contact with us, the Reddit thread is as good a place as any. If not, you can email us at nerdrunnerspodcast@gmail.com.
Right.
I'm on Twitter at MarcusFriend. Stef's on Twitter at House of Moose.
I probably won't respond. I feel that I need to clarify this because people might write to me and I'll go, I probably didn't see it ever.
See, I every time you clarify it like that, I always think you're just being mean. It's like,
I'm not being mean. I just
I know,
use Twitter.
I know, so you don't use Twitter, but it just comes off as a little. It's like, I'm not going to respond to your tweets. Tweet Mark instead. He'll respond.
He will respond.
I would respond. I'm desperate for love and attention online. But that does it for episode 6. So yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you in about 2 weeks' time.
Later, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Boundless complexity. Asset stupid. For a click, place 3 power counts on boundless complexity for every asset in R&D. For a hosted power counter, let X equal the number of power counters remaining on boundless complexity. Let Y equal the number of cards remaining in the stack. Let Z equal the memory available to the runner, excluding any programs installed during the turn before previous. Which doesn't make sense. 1. If X percentage Y is greater than Z and Z exponential equals 0, draw and reveal cards from R&D until an asset is revealed. Install that asset and the runner moves cards from the top of the stack to the heap equal to the res cost of that asset. 2. If Z equals 0 and Y equals 0, gain credits equal to the number of credits in the runner's credit pool multiplied by the number of power counters remaining on boundless complexity. If Y equals Z equals X, ask Lucas what to do on Twitter. From Wizard, we're going to have to get a ruling on this. And then I like the next guy underneath just put slow clap. That's the only comment associated with it.